Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 611. I feel like the camera's at a weird angle this morning. I was fighting with the coffee maker this morning, hence the 4 minutes tardy. It's Friday. It's Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1st. Bobby Bonilla getting another, 1.3 million, 1.1 million. So get ready to hear Bobby Bonilla all day long. Good morning, Hobby World. There's Jenny. July 1st already. I cannot believe it's July 1st already. I was watering my garden yesterday and it dawned on me. It's like something was coming up in July on my calendar. And is that a stain on my shirt? No, it's just the lighting. Um, and I'm thinking, oh, it's coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm like, oh wait, it's still June. And then I realize, oh, wow, it's June 30th already. Today's July 1st, already July, which June always seems to go by really fast. Actually, summer in the Midwest always goes fast. What's up, Herman? Good morning, Terry. John says, I'm halfway to my 2022 goal. Jenny asks, what's the goal? Victor, what's up, TGIF? Happy Friday to you. Ed, good morning. Jenny says, why does Yaz 1960 stats say Minneapolis? He was in the minors. There's your answer. Bobby Bonilla may be buying Bowman U today. He can buy a lot. Ed says that was their AAA team in Minneapolis. His 1960 card also says second base. That wasn't quite accurate. And yes, at my age, January 1st is the next goal always. Victor needs to get that Bobby Bonilla card out. I don't think I've sold a Bobby Bonilla card today, but I don't have. I didn't find any. I didn't look. But I don't think my Bobby Bonilla cards, for the most part, unless it's a rookie card, aren't really. They could just be in random boxes everywhere. Although I did at one point have like a Bobby Bonilla stack. Dan is with us. What's up, Dan? Cliff, good morning. David, what is up? Jenny says my Target had 25 mega boxes of Bowman on the shelf yesterday, overproduced, or people not buying at the new price. People are not buying. It's actually they made the same as last year. The production run for Bowman mega boxes is like the exact same as last year. But the price tag is significantly higher. And here's just an example of people not buying. I bought about 50 Bowman mega boxes last year. I bought 12 this year. I still have 6. In fact, I have 6 in the Target boxes. Haven't even opened the Target boxes to put them on the wax shelf. So it's just, and the reason why I'm not buying is because it's $45. And that's basically, and I think the sealed boxes will go up in value. Absolutely. It's just going to take longer. It may not take a year. It may be up to 2 years before, they double in price. But like my buddy Ryan in fact, he messaged me yesterday. I'm having all sorts of issues. Oh, excuse me. He said, hey, they just stocked Barnes and Noble with Bowman mega boxes. And last year, I would have made a beeline as soon as I saw that. In fact, last year he sent me a message. He's like, the Walgreens in Verona has a ton of mega boxes. And I went over there and bought like 10 of them. I've got to go blow my nose. And I'll just bring a box of Kleenex in here with me. Okay. So and you look at the odds. I actually have I have a couple boxes next to me. So 2020, 2021. So the odds on 2022 mega boxes, let's see. Let's try to find what's the most. So a black Let's see. Let's just look at the lowest odds. Purple parallel. Purple parallel. We'll pick out a few. Purple parallels this year 1 in 28 packs. Last year purple was 1 in 28 packs. Pink 1 in 36 this year. Pink last year 1 in 36. Green 1 in 71. Green 1 in 71. Yellow 94, 94. Gold 140, 140. Orange 279, 279. Red, it's going to take you one less pack actually this year. Reds are 1 in 1,397 packs. Last year it was 1,398 packs. Black this year 7,018, and last year was 7,019. So, and those are all the colors. Purple, aqua. Aqua was 32, 32. Pink 36, 36. Blue 47s. So yeah, all the same colors, no additional colors this year, and the odds are the same. So they printed the same amount this year as they did last year, but the price went up. And that's why I'm not buying. Let's see. Where are we at? Good morning, Mark. What's up? John says, if people aren't buying, then it's overproduced. Both answers are correct. Well, yeah, I guess to an extent, it's there's not demand at the price point. Do we see Bowman Mega in clearance? No. I think what happens is they XL, MJ Holdings, or the new distributor for Walmart, Premier, I guess, they'll sell it to third parties, whether it's Toy Wiz or I don't know, Fairfield is somebody they sell to. Blowout, they'll sell it to those before it goes into clearance, because I think Bowman's a product. Bowman Mega, even Bowman regular Bowman blasters, that's a product where whoever owns that product on the shelves, whether it's XL or the other ones, the other distributors, they'll make more money back selling it to resellers than putting a clearance sticker on it. But Gypsy Queen, Ginter, Heritage, Archives, Tops, Base, that stuff you'll probably see in the not so distant future showing up in clearance boxes. I think we'll start seeing clearance boxes here in the next couple months. Question of the day: will our guy go get a mention on Sports Card Radio? Oh yeah, so I did a video, and I actually recorded it to a Wednesday afternoon, and it's actually a video that I had planned on putting it out for a couple weeks. I created that thumbnail about 2 weeks ago, and I just kind of sat on it, and then finally it's just like when the time was right, I'm going to record this video. And I didn't put much thought. It was just off the cuff. And I just wanted to get, a little 2-minute video, my opinion on Sports Card Radio, because I know a lot of people don't like their tone and they can come off as abrasive. I think that was a term that was somebody mentioned in the comments. And I get it. And I don't agree with all of their take. I don't agree with, and here's the thing, just because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you don't agree with, everything. There's some, they have a good friend and a great breaker on their website, at least at one time. And it's like, this is kind of bush league to put, and it was because they don't do some of their breaks. They don't ship base, which I just avoid those breaks. There are some breaks they do ship everything. So I think some of the stuff that is brought up is a little unfair, but for the most part, they speak and there's nothing, and it's even when they do bring up stuff that I don't agree with, it's like it's probably truth unless it's an opinion. And obviously we can all agree and disagree on opinions, but I think they do great work exposing the underbelly in the bad stuff in the hobby. And I know they get a lot of flack because they get a lot of flack for being negative. And it may not be your cup of tea, but the message that they spread is good for the hobby because it's it shines a light on the bad guys, and okay, don't do business with this breaker or that seller for the most part. And again, I don't agree 100% with everything, but I agree 100% with anybody. So it is what it is. So yeah, that video is up. The most honest guys in the hobby. They're twins, Colin and Ryan. Sports Card Radio. I'd plug their channel, but they don't need it. They have over 10,000 subscribers. So Sports Card Radio, if you're not aware, that's their channel, and they're brutally honest. And I know it rubs many people the wrong way, but I think it's a great channel. Let's see. Jenny says, I was planning to buy a blaster of Series 2 until I saw it's $24.99. I'll pass at that. Yeah, even if it was, I would buy Series 1 at $25, and I'll probably buy Topps Update's going to be pretty loaded with rookies. So I'll buy Topps Update at $25. Series 2, I typically pass on Series 2. I rarely have bought Series 2 blasters, and I hate using the word never, but I've never bought a Series 2 hobby box. It's just Series 2 typically doesn't have anything that I really want, and I'd rather put that money in other products that come around the same time. In the past, I guess it's been a few years now, but Archives used to come out in June. I used to love Archives, and I still do from a retail standpoint. I wouldn't buy a hobby box of Archives. Ginter used to come out in July. It's now, I think, a September release, which is weird because I've shared the Ginter story, my wedding week Ginter story. So it just reminds me of the end of July, and now it's in September. And I think Archives is now a late release in September as well. So now it's like all of these products that I enjoy buying, Archives, Ginter, Heritage Miners, they all come out. It Topps Pro Debut. I bought a case of Pro Debut last year. Frickin' loved it. Was such a fun rip. And I'd like to buy another case this year, but it's like, man, there's so many products that are coming out at the same time. It's like, what, do I pick and choose? Do I buy a little bit of each, or do I just buy it all? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out in 2 months, 3 months. We'll find out. Maybe my buddy Tom up at Real Breaks will set me up with a deal. Let's see. Diego, what's up? Good morning. People of the Cardboard. That sounds like a horror movie. People of the Cardboard. Jenny says, of course, Bo has Bowman boxes right next to him. Let's see. Of course. They were in I have like a hobby content tub where it's basically just stacks and stacks of Beckett and baseball card magazines. And then I had and I'm keeping those. And my wife's like, when we were organizing the unfinished area, my wife's like, why do you have these empty boxes? And I'm like, well, I'm going to use these because I think we were organizing it before Bowman Mega Boxes came out this year. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to actually need these. She's like, for what? And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to compare odds from last year. Bowman U. Johnny Boy Cards, what is up? Looks like I skipped ahead in the chat. Dan says, didn't realize Burley was in the Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary. Hadn't seen any until today. Was it released really late? Picked up the base and refractor today. I think that product just came out recently, like within the last week, maybe. I started to see some posts on it. I don't know anything about it. It's not a product I'm really interested in. John says, anyone here know any colorblind collectors? That would be an interesting conversation. My brother's colorblind. During the boom, and just me talking about cards, he kind of got back into it, and I think he bought some just random stuff. I don't think he bought any new product that would have colors, but he's colorblind. I'll have to ask him that, but I don't think it would be so he hasn't collected in this colorful age of cardboard. He quit collecting in the early to mid 90s, and when he's dabbled, it's vintage. But I'll have to ask him, because he did. And so, I've known my brother my entire life, and I sometimes I forget he's colorblind, and like he can't see any colors. So we were when I was back home we were at the parade, and parade goes by, and I think it was like the queens, like the fair queens were driving by in convertibles, and car comes by, and he goes, "Hey, what color is that car?" And I just kind of, I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the whole colorblind thing." So I'll have to ask him. Hopefully I'll see him. I got to plan a trip. He's got a cabin on the Rock River, and I usually try to get there one weekend of summer. And I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks I can get there. So I'll have to ask him about that. But I don't think it's affected him, because the stuff he collects, it's like he knows it's basically like the team color, like the Cubs are blue and the Cardinals are red. So he just knows. But as far as like a refractor, a green refractor, a blue refractor, that would be interesting. Maybe I'll have to do an experiment. We can do a YouTube experiment. Hey, what color is this? What color is this? Let's see. Mark says, someone sent me a blue JD Martinez from Series 2. Low roller scratcher, you heard, number one draft pick, pitcher, debut in Major League Baseball, drafted in 2013. The biggest baseball player bust. But he's not, because he made his Major League debut. Yes, Mark Appel. What a crazy story. And I think, so this is just an entirely fascinating story, not just with Mark Appel, but with the Houston Astros, because Mark Appel was their number one overall. He was the number one overall pick in baseball in 2013. And the Astros had, what was it, 3 in a row number one picks. 13 was Appel, 14 was Carlos Correa, and they ended up trading him to Philadelphia. Mark Appel. He just wasn't panning out to be the talent of a number one overall pick. So they trade him to Philly, and then another draft. So they trade off for a relief pitcher to the Phillies, and Correa came on, and then the next draft, I think, was they picked Brady Aiken maybe in 2015, and he didn't sign, and he was like the number 3 or number 5 overall pick. I think he was 5, because 15. Now I'm getting my years mixed up. But anyway, he didn't sign. So now they're out 2 of their 3 top 5 picks. And they still won a World Series. Just that aspect is fascinating. So Mark Appel goes to Philadelphia, gets traded from the Astros to the Phillies, and just retires. And it, like, still young. Then he announced, I think it was last year, I'm going to come back, and he mounted a comeback, and here he is making his Major League debut. And I was going through my quarter boxes yesterday, and I had a stack of first Bowmans and first Bowman Chrome Mark Appel. It's like, hey, this is perfect timing. So I'm going to have to see. Well, let's just do it now. Let's see if there's been, I'm sure there has been a rush, or not a rush, but a spike, an increase in Mark Appel first Bowman. Looks like I did search it last night. Oh, so paper's been selling for about $3. Let's see. Let's look for some chromes. A lot of autos have sold. Here's a first chrome sold for $3. So it looks like there's no premium. on chrome or paper, at least at the time being. So, but it's a cool story. Mark Appel. I saw him when he was playing for the Quad City River Bandits. He and Carlos Correa were on that team, and so was Lance McCullers and Rio Ruiz, who I think played a little bit in the big leagues. Let's see. That 70s Card Show said that video had the freshness of an MRE. Dave Pearson, what's up? Good morning. What do you think of the pink refractors in Bowman U? Are they worth buying in bulk? I'm biased. Yes. Buy them up. Or are you talking about the pink refractors in general? If you're talking about the pink refractors in general, are they worth buying it? If you can get a good price, anything's worth buying in bulk if you get a good price. I think if you can get pink refractors at $0.25 a piece, I think you'll be able to make at least $1 profit on a purchase like that. At $1, I wouldn't buy them at $1 a piece unless it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, some of the top names. I wouldn't spend $1 on a pink refractor of a lineman or a linebacker or a defensive back, but a quarterback for sure. I'd spend $1 on a pink refractor of a quarterback, even if he's not a top prospect, just because we all know the quarterback market. If you're talking about bulk sealed, definitely. In fact, I was talking to Tom from Real Breaks about this at the show last weekend. He's got hobby boxes for $125, and I'm thinking maybe I buy a few hobby boxes too, because I don't have enough in blaster form. Let's really put my money where my mouth is on Bowman U. So yeah, I think if you can get the right price on those, then yeah, definitely worth buying. Let's see. Card Hobbyist, what's up? Good morning. Terry bought 5 blasters of Bowman U yesterday. I did okay, but it was definitely a fun rip for sure. And I think we don't really know when we rip these. I don't think we really know how good of a rip it's going to be until September, October. Once, I think that's when we'll really see the market either take off or not. And if it doesn't take off, what am I going to do? What if? So here's the big Bowman U what if. I've got 47 blaster boxes behind me and below me. I've got 6 below me. What if there's just what if this doesn't take off like I anticipate? Because I anticipate Bowman U football to really take off. I don't think the same with basketball. So this is not a general Bowman U take. This is football only because of the content, the checklist. What if it doesn't take off like I anticipate? What am I going to do? I'm probably going to rip it all. I'm going to have one giant ass rip party on Bowman U football. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to rip to hell all these blaster boxes and I'll put them in my eBay store. And will I make money? Maybe. Will I lose money? Maybe, probably. It'll probably be closer to break even, I would imagine. Even, I think that's at worst. I think at worst, you lose a small amount of money. So I think it's a very low risk, potentially high reward product. And I'm not saying it's go out and clear your Walmart and Target shelves of Bowman U football. But I think there's good potential here. And I think in September, October, when the product dries up on the shelves, many people, especially football collectors, are going to be looking at those pictures of those full Target shelves with 20 Bowman U football blasters and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't clear the shelf of that stuff because it's selling like hotcakes today. That's my thought. But I could be wrong. It may just be, nobody wants it. They're not. They don't have Ohio State or Michigan uniforms on. It's all airbrushed. I don't want to collect it. But I think in the interim, and I think there's long-term hold value on this? No. I think it's a short-term hold until football season, and then rip and flip away or flip away. Let's see. John says twins need to be sent to an island and separated from society. It's not fair. Diego says they also say so. Some of the bad guys often win because people still support the bad guys to save a buck or be part of a group. Hey, brother, good morning. Hope your coffee is good. DJ Scorpio, what is up? Thanks for dropping in the chat. Coffee is good this morning. It's just Dunkin'. It's just Dunkin' from, I think, Hy-Vee. I think we're finally making the transition away from Pick and Save to Hy-Vee because of all the challenges our local store down the street, the Pick and Save, is having. And I don't know if I shared this, but the deli, they're like rude, and it's been like this for a while. So my wife likes honey roasted turkey shaved, so it like falls apart. And there was a lady there and she was always like, anytime you asked for deli meat to be sliced, it was like a chore for her and like zero customer service. And like I felt guilty. Like when I had to go in and ask for meat to be shaved, I felt guilty because I was going to get the eye roll. It was like Beatrice at the IGA when I went to buy baseball cards. And Beatrice is giving me the old stank eye, watching me because I might steal the baseball cards. Old Beatrice. So my wife went in and there's a dude, younger dude, and he's kind of use Ken's word, but I won't say a D. He's kind of a D-hole. He's an A-hole. And I went in there one time and he's just kind of like lollygagging around. I'm like, hey, can I get some honey roasted turkey? And he's like, no, we're closed. I'm like, you're closed? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think he pulled the same shenanigans with my wife last week. They got into it. My wife was not happy. Manager came out, and the manager, like, she's like, he was polite, but he goes, if you know anybody that wants a job, send them our way. We're short-staffed. It's like, okay, that's your excuse for an employee that sucks at customer service. So it's like it gave us a really bad taste in our mouth because we also we feed our dog some of this meat for lunch. So we go through it. Like we have to go there once a week. And when we have to deal with employees that are going to be a-holes, it makes us not want to do business there. And they only have half the self-checkouts. They have 2 self-checkout sections. One of them's closed. And the one section that's open, the line goes all the way back to the end of the store. And they only have 1 or 2 checkouts. And I get it. We're in odd times where nobody works and it's hard to find people to work. But at Hy-Vee, there's a helpful smile in every aisle. So I just if I have to make a grocery store run, it's out of the way. I have to drive a little further, but there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Let's see. Jenny says, I bought a hanger of Series 2 will open later today. For $12, I'll chance the gamble. Diego says, I'm hoping Herman ends up with a Series 2 starter set. LOL, that is how I got my Series 1 set. John says 10X September. Hey, yes. Let's 10X Bowman U. Heritage Miners isn't on the release list my LCS has. He said they might have cut that one this year as they're cutting some to catch up on production. That's interesting. Can't see any color, so everything is just blended or black and white, or just can't tell. I think he said it's kind of a gray. I'll have to ask him. Now he says, don't spend $1 on pink refractors of Bowman U. I just bought up the $1 box of. I didn't tell you to buy them for $1 each. I think Bowman U, buy blasters for $20. Some of the pink refractors I think are worth $1, but some I would not. So let's see. Dan, what's up, Dan? I have to watch later, but wanted to hear your thoughts on this question. Do you think July will be stronger, weaker, or the same for eBay card sales compared to June? Oh, that's a good question. Based on my own personal, I think July will be stronger for my store based on the trends I'm seeing. I'm seeing a sharp uptick in sales. Now, who's to say that goes away tomorrow or today. But I think I've got some good steam going, where I think for my store personally, I think I'll see a stronger July. I had a pretty weak June. I started to look over the numbers yesterday, and I think, and I guess I can actually bring it up now. Last year, 2021, June was my strongest month in sales over the entire year. But so far this year, it ranks like, let's see. So let's go to January. I think January's been, no. I think May was my strongest month. So January, February, March, April. So May was my strongest month. Looks like June was my second worst month so far. So out of what, 6? January, February, March, April, May, 6 months. I think June ranks 5th out of 6 months. So it ranks ahead of April. Oh, just ahead of March. So 4th, 3rd, and it ranks ahead of February. Okay, I had a better June than I thought. So far, June ranks 3rd out of 6 months on eBay sales. And I think July will be stronger. I think July may be a sneaky good month for eBay sales. So that's my thought. I think generally speaking, I think July will be stronger overall for eBay card sales compared to June. And that's macro, not just my own stuff. Dan says this year, Rio Ruiz played 27 games in the KBO and was released with a 155 average. Oh, Rio. Let's see. Just sold a Barack Obama card from 2008 Topps for $15. Yeah, that's some of those cards in that 2008 political set go for sneaky good money. I sold what was it? I sold a couple cards. I pulled them out of a quarter box last year, and I'm sure the prices have dropped on some of those singles prices, because I bet that Barack Obama a year ago, last summer, was probably a $30 card. Because I sold, I think the Hillary Clinton sold for like $10, and I sold something else for decent money. Diego says quarterback market is you likely end up with a quarterback ROI. John says need to enunciate below me better. As soon as I said that, that sounded like blow me. I have some Bowman U below me. Jenny says, LOL. I always make sure I enunciate I need to ship when talking about cards. Cooter says, I heard it. Dan, how long does it take you to get to Club 400 from your house? About an hour and 40 minutes. About an hour 40. And I cut across, which basically, if I take all interstate, it's probably the same, maybe even, because I can really go fast on the interstate. Especially here, although they do have some, I've seen more and more cops, especially in the summer months, because there's a ton of vacationers that take, because basically the interstate here, there's one interstate that takes you up north, takes you to the Wisconsin Dells, takes you up to the Northwoods, and that's it. And so there's a ton of traffic. And you could go really fast. Although in the summer months, since there is more traffic, there's more police that radar. But I can go really fast on the interstate. I rarely see is it 90 or 94 from Rockford over to the suburbs into Chicago? I never see, and I hate saying never. I rarely see cops on that, especially on that section from Rockford into the far west suburbs. So it takes me about an hour 40, and I take the scenic route through. I cut over from Janesville and go through what are the towns? Delavan, or I don't think I actually go through Delavan. Darien, and down through and not Woodstock, Harvard, because that's my honey hole Walmart where I always find good retail boxes of cards. Victor's waiting for his Duncan. Cooter says, great. Now Bo's talking about shaving his meat. That's also something I caught, and I figured there'd be a comment probably from Cooter or John. Let's see. Jenny says, my sales going decent. She hit 10K. That is awesome. Jenny with 10,000 listings in her eBay store. Henry says, July will be better because of people who can't go to the National will want to spend money. That's a great point that Henry brings up. I totally agree with you. There's going to be some FOMO, especially week of the National. And I know from the standpoint of people that go to the National, it's almost like you think everybody goes to the National because it is such a packed show. What I was really surprised with, and I was talking about this at my card show with one of my dealers last weekend, they were asking, and some of the dealers that I know go to the National that set up at my show, I want to remind them that, okay, the next show is Saturday, July 23rd. Now, that's the Saturday right before the Saturday before the National begins on Wednesday. So if they're sitting up at the National, which some of them do, they're probably flying out that weekend. So they don't want to set up at a show that Saturday. So I wanted to make sure. And they're like, oh, yeah, I can make that work, but what's the traffic like? And I said, well, I have some data, from last year to this year, even with the market different between 2021 and 2022. Last year, I thought my June show was just going to be a grand slam, hit it out of the park, because it was the first time I had 30 dealer tables. Now I look back and it's like, wow. First time I hit 30 dealer tables last June. Started with 17 in April, went up to like 23 in May. So between May and June, a jump from 23 to 30 tables, was a big jump. And I'm thinking, hey, I've got 30 tables. We're gonna see twice the amount of crowd. The crowd kind of sucked last June. And then July, the National was in Chicago, which is basically right at 2 hours from. So it's probably from the card show venue, the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. It's probably an hour 50, hour and 48. It's 12 minutes from my driveway to the Sheraton parking lot. So from the Sheraton parking lot to the Rosemont parking garage, it's probably an hour and 48 minutes, hour and 50 minutes if you drive a little faster than the road signs tell you to. So about, say 2 hours to the National. I was shocked at the July show. I think I had less dealers. And I had a huge crowd, and I was shocked. And I was still setting up my bargain boxes at the shows in last year. And I would ask a lot of people, oh, you going to the National? Because the National was my show in July last year was right ahead of the National. So I'm like, oh, you go down to the National? And they're like, oh, no, where is that? And I'm like, oh, it's in Chicago. It's in Rosemont. And they're like, nah. Because you think about it, a lot when you go to local shows, and this is what I took for granted, was local shows, smaller hotel shows, it's a lot of just casual collectors. And I've noticed this over the several months that I've now been doing the shows. It's a lot of collectors that just they come out to a show once a month or maybe once every couple months whenever they have some free time. Look around. Some of them just saw the ad on Facebook and they're like, oh, I don't really collect, but I used to, and I wanted to check out what it's all about. So I took for granted that many people that walk the show floors of these smaller shows don't want to spend all the money. I mean, even so, take into consideration, and I ran I did the show, my decision why I'm not going to the National, because it was going to cost over $1,500 all in just to walk in the door. And I think after, and that was without food. So, take into account food and drinks and all that, probably $1,700 for the 5 days or whatever, 4 days or 5 days. So in Chicago, take into account, you're spending, especially with gas prices, now it's probably about, if you're here in Madison to Rosemont, you're going to spend about $50 in gas. if you gas up in Wisconsin. Don't gas up in Rosemont because it's going to be $1 more expensive in the Chicago suburbs than what it is in Wisconsin. So you're going to spend $50 on gas there and back just to go to a card show. You're going to spend, what is it, $15? $15 to get in for a day. So now you're at $65. You're going to have to pay $15 to park in the parking garage. Yeah, I know you can save a few bucks if you go down the street. So there's 15. So now you're at what? 65, 70, 80 bucks. You're at 80 bucks. Oh, by the way, there's tolls on the way into Rosemont. So now that's, I think conservatively, you're going to spend $10 between the Wisconsin border and Rosemont. I don't know what it is. It's 10 to 15 bucks. Now you're at, where are we at? 90 bucks. You're almost at $100 just to walk into a card show without spending a dime on cards. That's a lot of money for a casual collector. And I was in that spot not too long ago, just 3-4 years ago. And you know, my first national was 2019 because I didn't want to spend that type of money to go to a card show. I was a casual collector, you know, 5 years ago and beyond. And it's like, I didn't want to spend $10 or $5 on a bigger regional show. So I think those of us that go to the national and we're all in on the hobby, we kind of take for granted that most of the hobby isn't like us. Most of the hobby is your casual collector that's going to show up at a free hotel show or spend $1 on admission. They're going to walk the show floor, kind of take it in, maybe buy a pack. They're going to walk into Target to get a few things. They're going to grab a $20 blaster of tops. That's most of the hobby. It's casual. So that's what I took for granted because I didn't really, even though just 5 years prior, that's what I was. And it's like, I didn't start going to the national until 3 years ago. 2019 was my first national. And it was because I didn't want to spend $100 to walk in the door. Let's see, go back to the chat. Where are we at here? Let's see. Where are we at? So that's about Henry. So John says, I think the opposite, Henry. Whomever attends Action Al curbs their buying, taking that element out. Card hobbyists, congratulations to Jenny. Henry says LIV tour just hit 1 hour plus for me at Pumpkin Ridge. Easy decision to not go. Jenny says not only wanting to spend money not attending the national, but having more money because no travel costs. Look at Bowie saving $1,500 just by not traveling. And not only that, and it goes beyond the plane ticket, the hotel, the admission, and the other travel expenses, the food. There's also the opportunity cost that's a part of it. So it's not just $1,500 to $1,700 that I'm losing out on right away. It's the opportunity cost of I've got to put my eBay store on vacation mode, which is going to depress my viewings and depress my sales. So not only I'm losing out on income as well as spending money, and I'm a bulk buyer, and I can't, I can take my SUV down to Chicago and fill my car up. I can't do that on a plane. And I don't want to spend the money to ship it back either. And I don't really want to drive to New Jersey. So yeah, there's not just that upfront $1,500 in hard costs, but there's the opportunity cost of losing sales for my business. Let's see. And Jenny says that doesn't count the money he would spend at the show. Absolutely. Henry says $1,500 to spend on COMC. Absolutely. And that's that's a great point that Henry adds here about $1,500 to spend on COMC. I won't spend it on COMC, but I'll have that money liquid to where if a collection comes up, whether it's at a card show this weekend or on Facebook Marketplace or wherever it may be, that I have that capital available and it's not tied up on, it's not gone through travel expenses and all that stuff. So that was a big reason I wanted to have cash on hand to make purchases to continue to grow the business. AIH Sports, I got my car towed in Rosemont. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's see. Doc Jim says, I have VIP tickets for the National, but decided to take the loss based on cost of travel and hotel, not to mention food. Yeah, $1,500 is that's not even counting the what do you call it? Extra expenses, dinner, lunch, beer, some of that stuff. Jenny says you could probably resell those. Absolutely. And those, and you can, and I think I even wrote a blog post, and I think it was true. Like, I sold from my VIP and I got the super VIP bag. Basically it paid for it. It paid for the show for me. And it was, I went to the National for free. And I think that's how I said it. Because I did sell, a lot. If you sell the swag that's in your VIP bag, if you sell it like immediately, don't wait 2 days. Don't wait until Friday to put that on eBay. Sell that stuff right away. And I put that, what day did I get in? When does it open? Wednesday. So last year on Wednesday, as soon as we got back, me and my buddy got back to the hotel, I'm opening packs and I'm listing singles and I'm selling stuff on eBay. And by the time I woke up Thursday morning, I think everything, like 1 or 2 cards, had sold from my VIP bag. And I think I ended up, and again, I drove in from, Wisconsin, 2-hour drive. But from what I sold out of my super VIP bag, it paid for, along with the ticket, the super VIP I get because of the parking pass, which saves you $15 a day for, that's $75 in parking that I didn't have to pay because of that parking pass. I sold the autograph tickets for $50. And then everything else, I think I sold for $200 or $300. So that paid for my VIP ticket and, probably gas. And then of course, didn't have to pay for parking because I got the parking pass. But can't do that when you have a lot of extra expenses that go into it. And of course, I didn't pay for and I did stay at a hotel. So that just paid for the actual 5 days going to the National. It didn't take into account my travel. Well, I think it took into account my gas and probably my tolls, but not the hotel. And of course, there was no flight. Let's see. Ken, what's up? I feel like the Dallas Card Show is like that. Doc Jim says, where are we at? And now I froze. Yep, now I'm back. Let's see. Where are we at? Doc Jim says they don't, non-refundable and non-transferable. Really? That's stupid. Well, that sucks. That's really dumb. Why would it be non-transferable? Unless they just don't have safeguards to in place to not copy them. Victor says, I will stay home, have a drink, and spend money on eBay trying to finish my 1980s Cubs Donruss sets. Very nice. Salad, Dallas backwards. Jenny says, dang, that sucks. I agree. DJ Scorpio says, curious, since you brought up the National question, I received a solid offer on my 9.5 BGS Herbert Cracked Ice Variation on card auto of 22 for $55K. Should I take it, or should I try to sell it for $80K at the National? Last sold for $75K. Wow. Taking feedback from all, by the way. Well, so here's my, I've never sold a card for $55,000. So I don't have any experience. That's a hard amount. And again, I do low dollar cards. So, I'm not in that price range. But what I have experienced with higher end cards from what I have sold based on, what my inventory typically is, usually those first offers are the best. But the National's only a few weeks away. Yeah, you could lose that fit. Here's my thing. I'm like talking it out. DJ Scorpio, here's my answer. Hang on to it until the national, because you're gonna lose that 55,000 offer today, but between now and the national, the only thing that's gonna happen is training camp's gonna begin. And I think the market's gonna be super hot for football, and especially Justin Herbert at the national. I think you'll get more. Do I think you'll get 80K? Probably not, but I think you'll get more than 55K at the national. So I would hang on to it, because it's not like the nationals 3 months away, 4 months away. Then I would be a little more hesitant. But with the national being 3 weeks, 4 weeks away, in no actual games being played between now and then, where you're risking him getting hurt, I'd hang on to it, take it to the national, and I think you may not get the last well, you might get more, but I think you'll get more. I think bottom line is you'll get more than 55,000 at the national. So that's my take. I say hold on to it and sell it at the national. Jenny would take it and run. In all seriousness, I totally would, because you never know what could happen. It could drop drastically, but it could increase drastically. But she would sell. Henry says take it and go to the national. Doc Jim says, when I looked into lodging, it was insane. I know grown adults all chipping in and sleeping on the floors in the hotel rooms. I draw the line. It's like me and a couple buddies chipped in for a hotel room at the Cubs convention the last time there was a Cubs convention, which would have been 2020, was right before the pandemic. And there was 3 of us in 2 beds. And I said, I'm sleeping on a bed by myself. I'm not sharing a bed. I'm not sleeping on the floor. I'm not sleeping on the couch. So, if that's a deal breaker, that's a deal breaker. And so one of the guys was like, I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care. I'm like, okay. And he's older than me. And I'm like, okay. But, one of these beds is mine and only mine. So, yeah, more power to him for the floor sleepers, not me. If that was a deal breaker, I'd just go ahead and I'd pay full price the next room over. Jenny says, Bo, you should head to Minnesota when Cooter does next year. Let's plan a meetup locally here. I have a shop would spend open to close at. Awesome. That 70s card show says incidentals. There you go. There's the word I was looking for. Cooter says, take the 55K now. You will be able to buy back for 5K in 2 years. I'm gonna say devil's advocate on this. Yeah, you'll probably in 2 years, yes, it may only be worth 5 or 10K, but between now and the national, it's not going to go below 55K. If there was a comp at 75K, I don't see it dropping below 55K. I say hold, take it to the national, and you'll at the worst, you'll get 55K, 60K at the worst. But you'll probably get closer to 75K. That's what I would do. Again, full disclosure, I've never done a deal that big, so take my advice with a grain of salt. Jenny says, I'm younger than a majority of the group, and I won't sleep on the floor. Henry says, beers with Pepino could be expensive, not to mention the photos he might blackmail you with. Henry says, I'm old, 47-year-old grouch. Jenny says, Zach and Porter, too. They would love the local shop. Tracy says, good morning, late to the show. What is up, Tracy? We're just randomly, just whatever comes up in the chat, we're talking about. DJ Scorpio says, thank you very much for thoughts on my situation. If anyone else would like to give their opinion, I would greatly appreciate it. It's a very hard decision. Heck yeah. 55K, no matter if you deal in high end in 10K, 50K card, that's still a significant amount of money, no matter, if you deal in that type of deal in those type of cards, whether or not. It's a lot of money. Let's see. Cooter says, I'm looking forward to Bo's Big D adventure next year. Start saving up, everyone. I am. That's on the agenda. Dallas 2023. But I do want to make sure that we get a big group out there. I don't want to just go, although there's enough people out there. Ken, Brad, Mike Moynihan, who am I missing in Dallas? Rich, Uncle Rich, Steph. So there's a ton of people I could just go to Dallas, but I do want to. I want to make it there when everybody else is traveling in, so we can make it a big group event. So next year, at some point next year, and maybe like well, I would say I was gonna say early next year, but be doing my spring training trip in Arizona, so I don't want to be gone too much. But I'd like to do it in like the winter months, maybe the end of this year even, because I'd like to go to Dallas when it's not like and I know Dallas has some colder days, but at least it's not like 20 below zero cold like we have up here. Mr. Corpse Killer, what's up? Good morning to you. The transfer guy quit. You know anyone needs a job? Let's see. Tracy says, Bo sent you a question on Twitter yesterday. Is that the best way to reach you? Typically it is. Did I not? And I can be bad at getting back. Did you DM me? Maybe I'm not following you and it ended up in my I've got a whole bunch of message requests. Are you TKO's cards? I did get that, and it's in my junk folder. Oh, you've sent me a few. Sorry about that. If that is you. So I will I'll get back to you here in a second. DJ Scorpio says, Doc Jim, how much for the VIP, as I'm planning on going since I'm in New Jersey? Jenny says, as a Vikings fan that loves Teddy Bridgewater, I get scared of training camp. Ooh, yeah. And Teddy Bridgewater was because I did go to Minnesota Vikings training. My buddy Kyle is a huge Vikings fan. Like, he's a Vikings fan like I'm a Cubs fan. And so I went over to, actually, I think the first year I moved here to Wisconsin, when they were still training in Mankato, I went over for the weekend, and he had just outside of Mankato. I can't remember. I know that's the land of 1,000 lakes or 1,000,000 lakes or whatever, but one of the lakes outside in a small town, near a small town by Mankato. And Teddy Bridgewater was such a nice guy. Big smile on his face, would sign autographs for everybody. I think it was his rookie year, actually. Would have been 2014. John says, and Herbert tears his ACL first practice. A bird in the hand applies here. Gamblers lose more than the win. I'm taking the gamble, because I think even if he tears his ACL, maybe you'll lose out on a little money. But I think since we're talking quarterbacks here, since we're talking Justin Herbert, here's my thought process. Okay, worst case scenario, he tears his ACL walking into the office, or whatever, the Chargers office, or falls and breaks his leg. Worst case scenario, that card's not going to drop dramatically. Maybe it falls to 40 or 50K, and I know that's a significant loss from 55K. But I don't think it's not going to drop. If he tears his ACL, it's not like it's going to fall from 55K to 5K. It's still going to be, highly sought after card. So it's kind of like three things can happen to a quarterback when he throws the ball. Two of them are bad. And I think it's the opposite here. I think two out of three things can happen and they're good. I think that's worst case scenario. Here I am rambling. I'm trying to get my thoughts out clearly and concise, and it's not happening. So I think the worst case scenario, first practice before the national, he tears his ACL. Your 55K is out the window, and now it's probably 40K. So you're going to lose out on some money. 40K is still a lot of money for a card. Or it's, he's having a bad camp first week, and it's not in demand, which I don't think there's going to be that in 1 week of training camp. You're not going to see a, decline in significant value. Your last sold was 75K, your offer's 55K. If there's less demand, he's healthy, but there's some question marks. I still think it's 55K at least. I think that offer at the national, in 3-4 weeks, 55K is still the number. I think that you're going to get at least that at the National, barring a torn ACL. Then you're going to, it's going to be less. But since the last comp was 75K, I think you hold on till the National. I think your best case is status quo, and maybe your offer somewhere in the 60 to 65K range. So I think that's my thought process, where even if he does tear his ACL the first day, you're gonna lose out on 55K, but it's not gonna be a huge decline. It's still probably 40, maybe 50. Somebody taking a flyer on it. Let's see. Victor says, Victor, the rookie card specialist. Good morning. Dealers at the National will offer 30 to 40%, in my opinion. You'll need to leave them lots of meat on the bone for them to drop that kind of coin. There's some dealers are like that. There's a lot of gamblers, and not just dealers. There's going to be people walking the floor, and you'll be able to get good money. I mean, it's crazy the coin that some of these guys will drop on cards, and it's especially on new shiny stuff like this. There's a ton of gamblers that are willing to drop 50 to 75,000 on a card like this. So let's see. David says, as of yesterday, all VIP tickets are sold out for the National. Cooter says the risk is the market will soften more before the National, which I believe it will, given economic data. That very well could be the case. I don't think it's going to affect this type of card, though. But that's my thought process. Not within 3 or 4 weeks. Now, if the National was 6 months away, 3 months away, I would definitely not have the same thought process. But 4 weeks, 3 weeks, the end of this month, I think it's a safe play to hold. DJ, I have the super VIP ticket. Let me look more into the transferability, and I would sell it to you for half of what I paid. There you go. Hopefully I can split a room with a few people next year. John says, I slept with 11 dudes in a bus for 10 years. I did my time. There you go. Let's see. Zach and Porter, what is up? Let's see. John adds, the biggest market bailing in the hobby are people buying, selling cards like the Herbert. Doc Jim says, with the Herbert cracked ice, one option is you could trade down for more 2 to 3K cards for higher value and then not pay the tax on the cash you made, or send it to the auction house. I have a Burrow National Treasures RPA going up in August. Victor's in for Dallas. Awesome. Let's see. Mark says, I'd like to hit Dallas and Philly soon. John's going to Philly in September. Ken says, the May show here feels pretty big each of the past 2 years. That sounds like I could do May. I think I can handle May. I just need to, and I'm actually going to be putting my Madison Card Show schedule together here in the next couple of weeks for next year. If anybody knows, and I don't think Dallas plans out that far in advance. But if they have a general weekend, I'd like to avoid that just to leave it open so I can do May, because I think you're right. That does seem the last 2 years, that seems like it's a big show, and that would work for me. It gives me a couple months back from my spring training trip. May would be a good time for me. Bob Lancaster, what's up? Good morning. Tracy says, yes, DM, no rush. That is me. Awesome. I apologize for you're not the only one. There's a couple dozen in there that I have not responded to. I never checked that folder. Mark says, probably heading to Cooperstown in September for my yearly visit. Best way to reach Bo via Frank. I don't know about, well, probably faster. That's not a good way either. I haven't seen Frank in a couple days. I want to ask him about his first concert. DJ Scorpio says, also, thank you very much, everyone, for answering my question, giving their advice. Doc Jim says, cracked ice is one of the top QB cards to have regardless, so I understand the desire to keep it. Can't wait to get my hands on a Justin Fields. John says, the hobby is juiced. Where we at? Card Hobbyist says, I need a list of everyone's eBay stores here so I know all of the low-end eBay brigade. Very nice. Well, I know Jenny has a store with low end. My store, I've got the link of my store in the description of this video. I think was it Trey? I think Tracy also asked me. That might have been what the DM was about. Putting together a list of people that are here in the chat and their stores and all that. Let's see. Logic is out the window. Now you're basing on his performance. Who is he? He's not even Romo at this point. Pass the split, please. But that's the thing about prospecting. You know, that's the crazy thing about prospecting is we prospectors, and I'm not going to say we, prospectors are buying up these cards on, let's just say Justin Herbert. Oh, he could be the next Joe Montana. But Joe Montana doesn't have any $55,000 cards. So what if he is the next Joe Montana? And that's what I don't get. It's like, well, this guy's comped to Wade Boggs. And it's like, well, there's not any Wade Boggs cards that are $10,000 or $5,000. And I get, and I understand, well, Wade Boggs played in the 80s and 90s. And so same with Montana. I get it, but I don't get it. I get it and I don't get it. That's about as eloquent as I can be on that. Tracy says we definitely need an eBay list. I need to find a card show in my area. Haven't been to one since 1995. Itching to go to one again that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. Tracy, where are you at, Tracy? Let's try to find Tracy a card show that he can get to. Mark Hoyle says no shiny cards in the 70s. What's up, baseball card curmudgeon? Jenny says, have a great weekend. How's the show looking for the holiday weekend? Doc Jim says, my store is Doc Jim Cards. Let's throw a wrench your way. Where are we at? So there you go. Doc Jim, you can link your store now. Yeah, so I have a show. I'll be set up this Sunday, July 3rd at in Janesville. I've been putting my quarter boxes together. And actually, I had a couple boxes that I hadn't even gone through. And I found 2 Nestor Cortez Chrome rookies, and he's like on fire for the Yankees. I found all those Mark Appel first Bowman. Found a Juan Yepez first Bowman, which I didn't know he had a Bowman. And then I found a couple Cubs. A Luke Little, which I met his family out at spring training. I still communicate with his mom and dad on Twitter. So this is a Luke Little blue something or other, and then Ed Howard fireworks. Just sitting in a random box I hadn't pulled out from my Cubs collection. So Sunday, Janesville Holiday and Convention Center. I'll have fresh quarter boxes. There'll be a few cards that you may have seen a few months ago. But for the most part, a lot of shiny stuff, a lot of colors. I'll be throwing stuff like this in my quarter box, some football, mosaic Leonard Williams, shiny and colorful. So I'll have those. Some new Bowmans. Let's see. DJ Scorpio says, honestly, it's insane. It's the best card I ever pulled and actually plan on using the money for a down payment on a house. That's awesome. No, that's DJ. That's kind of what the show is about. I just like to come on and talk. And then we can share, our thoughts and opinions and questions and comments and all that fun stuff. So when questions like that are brought up in the chat, I encourage that because it's fun to discuss. You can hear my opinion, and then other people in the chat share their opinions. And it's fun. So good luck. Whatever you do, drop back in the chat. And let us know how it comes about. And congratulations on a great pull. I mean, that's what's awesome about how you can pull, and it's not like every day you're going to pull a $50,000 plus card, but when you do, it's life-changing money that he's going to put a down payment on a house. How cool is that? Like, you pull a card that literally changes your life. That's very cool. So I do want to keep tabs on how this progresses, and that's awesome. Jenny says she can't sell Joe Montana cards for $2. I sold a Joe Montana card for $1 out of my eBay store to Leaf. I saw and normally I would have countered, but it's like, hey, this is Brian. I'm gonna accept this offer. So yeah, I can move Joe Montana's not fairly regularly for like $150. Let's see. Tracy's near Myrtle Beach. The Pelicans. My brother lives in Myrtle Beach, and I haven't visited him. He's got like 5 kids, so that's a little kid overload. So how far are you? I know Spartanburg has a good show, and I know Herman, help me out. Is Herman still in the chat? Because Herman's close to South Carolina, so I know some of the shows he goes to. But I know Spartanburg has a decent show. I'm not sure how far Spartanburg is from Myrtle Beach, though. Henry says, check the Beckett calendar. My state of Oregon had nearly 0. Yeah, it sucks. Like I'm very fortunate where I'm at, where we have a lot of card shows here in Wisconsin and Northern Illinois. We're very blessed in our area with card shows. Victor says, I checked my schedule. I'll be in town this weekend, but my son's orientation is at 3 p.m. on Sunday, so I will not be able to attend Janesville. That's a bummer, but have fun in Madison. Henry hasn't been to a show since 2000. Card hobbyists believe Columbia is your best choice. They have one there about every quarter. Doc Jim says, sorry, how do I link my store? I think if you go to like eBay, and here's how I link my store. I have my eBay store linked on my website, and I just copy and paste the link, but I linked it somehow to get the link on to my website. I think if you go to like eBay, if you go to like your username, you can click on like other items or visit my store, and then I think you just copy and paste the link in there. Let's see. John says, remember the heady days of 35X on a 69 maze? Yeah. Dollar box find sold it hours later for $40. Can't beat that. 55X or more on a Herbert should be gratifying, I would think. Let's see. Spartanburg is 4. Oh, wow. Spartanburg's pretty far. I thought South Carolina was a small state. I didn't realize there were 4 hours separated. Let's see. Tracy's going to the Pelicans tonight if the weather holds off. That's awesome. I'm like the air 50-50 if I'm going to go back. I probably won't. I went to one game. I wanted to go back for a second South Bend Cubs game this week in Beloit, but I want to get things. Need to do more shipping. I want to get my quarter boxes put together. So I think I'm just gonna call it a day on the South Bend Cubs series. Let's see. Jenny says, I'd personally sell any card at $55K, no regrets. Herman says that may be too far. I'll look into Columbia, Charleston, both 2.5 hours away. Wow. Doc Jim, there you go. You got the link to work. Let's see. Tracy, got to sacrifice something for the beach life. Card hobbyist, Spartanburg to the East Coast is about the furthest you can drive in South Carolina. Okay. If you ever come visit Myrtle Beach, let me know. Would love to meet up. Absolutely. So that's the end of the chat. So that's about all. Nothing like a Friday free for all. Gotta love it. Hour and 15 minutes later, here we are. So I may make a retail run today just to scope things out. Not sure. Gonna finish up my quarter boxes for Sunday show. Janesville, Wisconsin, if you're in the area. Sunday, July 3rd. That's this weekend. I'll have some fresh quarter boxes, baseball, football, basketball, even some soccer. So check that out this Sunday. Next Madison card show, Saturday, July 23rd, Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. I've got a few dealer tables available, 120 tables. We've got 5-star grading or 5-star subs. You can submit for PSA and SGC. So they'll be back. And then also we have showcase rentals. So if you're a dealer at the Madison Card Show and you need a display case showcase, we do have a company that's going to offer rentals for showcases. So that's exciting because that's a common question that dealers ask. I'd love to set up, but I don't have any showcases. Now you can rent one or 2 or 3. Let's see. Doc Jim says, remember everyone, hard to sort cards without fingers. Be careful with those fireworks. There you go. There you go. Be careful out there. Have a safe weekend. I'll be back live tomorrow morning. Weekend times vary. Tomorrow morning, call it 8 a.m. ish. So no show on Sunday, though. I won't go live Sunday because of the card show, but I will go live Monday morning with a recap, with the Janesville Card Show recap on the 4th of July. So have a great Friday. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning, and we'll see you then.